Welcome to Your Wordless podcast, the space where we redefine success, self-worth, and transformation. I am Nierras, the soul-centered architect of transformation, helping you unlock your highest potential and build a legacy beyond limits. Now, whether it is self-mastery, career breakthroughs, or wealth creation, this is where change begins. Now, let's dive in. Could you share with us, what was it like growing up as a Freddie Rapina?
Grew up on Long Island and, working class family, parents saved a lot of money, worked a lot of hours, and we were able to send me to one of the better schools in New York. And from there went to college and, just grad school after that and started working for the Fairfax County Police Department at a pretty young age and retired from there. And around my 12th or 13th year, I decided I wanted to get into wealth advising and switch from just being a police officer to working in finance. And so for about 6-7 years there, I had two careers. I was like literally running back and forth across the street. My office was right next to my station. And
Wow.
It was helping a lot of police officers and firefighters and teachers retire. And the firm got bigger and bigger. And now here we are, and helping a lot of more corporate execs and athletes and real estate investors. So it's great.
Awesome. Why I was asking that question is because, my podcast talks a lot about self-worth, and some people might tie their self-worth to what they can achieve, especially monetary terms, right? Or status and all those things. So I like to tie the mission of the start of my podcast to my guest's story. So, and personally, I resonate with it because had I not thought about the importance of investing wisely, especially before I left high school, and that has enabled me to actually transition from 9 to 5 to entrepreneurship last year. I mean, of course, I've had my fair share of, ups and downs, but I think the crux of this conversation is why is taking care of your financial health is really important. And this is one subject that schools don't teach everywhere in the world. I'm in Malaysia. I get into, if you're savvy enough or if you're aware enough, you'll get into, enroll yourself in degrees or diplomas that teach these things, or you're inclined to learning about investing, right? But most people don't have that kind of awareness. So I guess this is where people like yourself is very much sought after. So, and I think that kind of flows nicely into my first question for you. Now, you wrote a book called Playing the Wealth Game. Why did you write it? And what is it about?
Well, I wanted to write a book that was more of a self-discovery book and having people understand that there were two different games in the financial world. I call checkers, which would be more of like middle-class finance, and chess, which is more advanced, wealthy finance, affluent finance. Yeah, well, they both have strategies, but it's more about being able to do different things, like being able to afford a better lifestyle for yourself. And checkers has a hard time being able to support that goal. And I'm not saying checkers is wrong. And if you're going to play checkers, I want you to play it very well, because nothing sucks more than being a bad checkers player. Get your butt whooped by capitalism. Switching over to chess is a different mindset, and I want people to understand they're two different games. And by the end of the book, people should know whether they are a checkers player or a chess player at heart, and whether they want to switch or stay where they are. But they shouldn't be screaming at the moon anymore. Why do the rich keep getting richer? Well, they're playing a completely different game. They're playing chess.
Yeah.
And I don't mean just people. I also mean companies. I mean governments. I mean people that, I'm including that when I say people, because saving money is very different than becoming wealthy. It's part of the equation, but it's not the equation. I think some people actually save too much money, which is weird to say.
Okay, I'd like to
Yeah.
pick on that. Okay, yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah. Yeah. Like checkers players can save too much money um, and not bear the fruit of that savings because compound interest just takes too darn long when you're starting out with with so little money. It doesn't work.
Is
People would
that
like to think it
right?
works.
Oh, okay. I
People
think
Yeah, people like to think it works, but it doesn't when you consider the time it takes and how much savings needs to be done to be able to draw down a healthy income stream. And that income stream is going to be so far down the road, 30, 40 years. And when you handing your money over to the financial institutions, they're not playing checkers with it. They're playing chess, and they are purchasing cash flowing assets such as real estate, such as businesses, things that are going to create income for that company, that service, whatever government, whatever's playing chess. So it's just different. And I wanted people to understand two different games and make sure they knew which one they wanted to play.
okay, now you just got me very, very curious here. Could you give us a little bit of breakdown about the traits of these people that are chess players and also the checkers player? Yeah.
Yes. So a checkers player is going to put a whole lot of money in the retirement accounts, 401ks, IRAs, that type of thing. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is checkers. If you are playing chess, you are probably doing that in addition to doing that. You're buying real estate, you're buying businesses, you're buying things like cash flow. You are using leverage, using debt correctly. Checkers players, if you're playing checkers, you want to be out of debt. You don't want debt. Chess players want debt. They want to be in as much debt as possible, but without over leveraging, meaning not borrowing so much that you couldn't pay it back. But borrowing money is definitely part of the chess game. And so I think that is the biggest separator between the two.
How important is keeping a healthy credit score for a chess player? Hi, I'm Nierras, your host of the Youre Worthless podcast. Now, if these real raw stories hit home, don't wait. Please follow, like, and subscribe my Spotify and YouTube. For bite-sized inspirational reels, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and LinkedIn. Don't wait. Your transformation starts today. Thank you, and bye for now.
Oh, it's very important because with healthy credit score, you're going to be able to borrow more.
Or bigger amount. Okay.
Yes. It's or at a lower interest rate, whichever.
Yeah.
Whichever is more important at the time. So it's that's a big part of it. But just understanding how to borrow correctly, how to not create taxable events. Not using the tax code to your advantage and not to your detriment, as most people think of it. People look at the tax code as the enemy, whereas chess players look at it as like a guide, like a coupon book.
Wow. Okay. So I'm sure if anybody's listening to this once this airs, how to move from a checker to the chessboard?
Yeah, that's the big question, right? That's the mindset switch that so people need to either do or not do, right? And like I said, if you're going to play checkers, I want you to play it very well. But if you're going to switch over to chess, you got to have the right mindset. You got to have the right strategies, the right guides, right help. You got to build a team of financial professionals, tax professionals, real estate professionals, the gamut. You got to make sure you have people that are in your corner and working for you. And, that's a big part, but it is more of a mindset shift.
Okay. So what kind of services that you offer? If somebody's interested, that one person is interested right now. Okay. Freddie piqued my interest and I want to work with him. So what can you help that person with?
We can help them by helping them manage their accounts, by helping them go through the process, by helping them figure out what their debt capacity is, what their debt tolerance is, what their goals are. Most importantly, the goals. We can help them kind of like build a strategy because not everybody's going to be a little bit different. There's no one right answer to any of this. So we can help them, guide them through that. And we manage the paper assets, we manage the accounts, but we also, one of the few wealth advisors that will say out loud that the accounts themselves is not going to lead them to the promised land. It's going to be all the strategies and what we purchase with the debt to create cash flow. That's what's going to help increase the lifestyle that people want, because saving money sucks. I mean, by itself, it just doesn't work.
You just brought up a very good point, and you said compounding interest is not our friend. I thought compounding interest is the eighth wonder of the world.
Okay, so let's unpack that. Okay, when I say
yes,
compound interest, I'm saying it's oversold. I mean, if it depends on how much money you actually started with. If you started with a lot of money, then yeah, the compounding can create enough money that's so far above the cost of goods and services that you can create an income stream to afford a great lifestyle. When you don't have that kind of money and it just takes too much time. Think about it. If you're getting a 7% interest rate on your accounts, your money should double every 10 years.
Yeah.
Well, how many sets of 10 do you have? Right? And how much money did you start with? Because if you started with $100, you're going to be dead by the time you get to $1,000. So it's like, it's the amount of money that you start with. Now, it doesn't mean that compounders are bad. Compounders are great. And it can, if you think about it correctly and you use it to grow the accounts, but then using the leverage that you can create with it, because that's what the lenders love to see. They love to see the numbers on paper, and are able to get a loan, and that loan can buy a cash flowing asset, and that cash flowing asset can create income. That income you can actually enjoy your life with, and allow your accounts to grow. So the next time around, you can take a bigger loan out. So it's really, a different attitude, but it's also not for everybody. And I feel like the financial world is really kind of forcing checkers down people's throats.
Oh, yeah.
And having them believe it's chess, and it's not.
No.
So, yeah, they're going to take the money, and they're going to, you can look at investment companies, like companies that create mutual funds. You can look at insurance companies. You can look at, any, company and be like, wait, this is not what you're doing with the money. You're buying hotels, you're buying shopping malls, you're buying, things that cash flow, and telling us to save money with you and just wait around 30 years for compound interest. It's not the same.
Right. So,
and it doesn't mean you have to play the game on that scale either. I mean,
exactly.
Obviously,
so you're advocating
you can play
for
chess on a much smaller scale.
Yeah, like a smaller scale, but then you becoming an entity, but you buy those cash generating assets and then you create your own cash flow. Okay. Well, it sounds so easy, but it's easier said than done, right? Like every year you hear it never ending about inflation, and then the rate of our 9 to 5 employees increment is not going to match that. All the more reason, we have all this news coming up saying inflation's up, and we have people who's trying to help move from, like yourself, checkers to chess, but they still feel that they have tsunami of information like right now, but they just don't know where to start, right? I've read enough. Somebody says, I've listened to enough podcasts. What can I do right now today? 3 steps on their own, at least, before coming to an advisor.
Yeah, I would say the first thing is the mindset. I mean, that's it. We want to work with people that have a good mindset to understand what they want, so we can help them achieve that. It doesn't happen overnight, but in my opinion, doesn't have to take 40 years either, right? So it is really about understanding the checkers and chess mindset, understand who you are. And if you are a checkers player, be a good checkers player, save a lot of money, stay the heck out of debt, do those things, right? But just understand that you will not become wealthy. You will not be able to achieve those kinds of lifestyles that the chess players are able to achieve. So if, making sure people understand that, right? And I think that's pretty reasonable.
And I know you mentioned 401k. So in the States, the 401k, there's a cap to it, right? It's about 90,500. Is that correct?
No, the cap moves every couple of years, but
right.
It's a retirement account. It's deferring income taxes on your active income.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not bad. It's not a bad thing, right? It's but
there's something.
Unfortunately, people in the States have relied on. They thought this is going to be the magic bullet. This is
like my savior. This is gonna take me. It's my retirement. It's not.
Yeah, it's not. It could be a great part of the equation. It could be a large part of the equation. It's just not the equation. There's much more that needs to happen. If you have $1 million saved in a 401k and you're using the 4% pull down rule, meaning you're going to take 4% of the account balance in retirement to fund your lifestyle, well, that's just 40 grand. Right? So where are you retiring on 40 grand? It's just not enough by itself. So people need to, and that's you saving $1 million. That's a lot of savings. There's not many,
right?
Many people don't even have that, right?
Yeah, so, exactly.
So it's just again, part of it, not it.
Okay, right. Now I think we're gonna talk about your firm. What's the evolution of your firm? And there's a question here that says, why did you choose to make your firm independent? What happened before and what's happened now?
Becoming a podcast host was a natural extension of my second act. Now, after spending 15 years in the corporate world, I've transitioned to helping individuals overcome challenges like navigating tough relationships, career burnout, and aligning their mission with their soul's calling. By certifying as an RTT hypnotherapist and a lifestyle coach, I made it my mission to empower people to recreate the life they deserve and building a supportive community through my podcast. Now let me ask, are you facing challenges like struggling to reprogram your mind to attract wealth, weight issues that feel like a constant yo-yo, insomnia or restless nights from daily worries, or just a lack of confidence in public speaking? If the answer is yes, visit www.thenierrasholisticlifestyle.com and grab a free hypnosis audio of these common struggles. It's a sneak peek into how my coaching works. Are you feeling shy? Don't be, because I'm as real as it gets. Let's connect on Instagram and LinkedIn and start your transformation today.
Well, I wanted our firm to be independent because I didn't want anyone telling us what we had to, what we had to recommend, or or any quotas or anything like that of any type of sales. We want to help our clients. We don't want to sell products because we need to meet a quota. Now, if something is in the best interest of our client, sure, but we wanted to work for the client and we wanted to help that person achieve their goals, not some company achieve theirs. So we chose to be independent, and we are a fiduciary firm, which means we have to act in the best interest of our clients at all times. It alleviates the problem of whose interests are we looking out for. And we charge 75 basis points for assets under management, which is pretty low, so very affordable. But we just ask for people to have the right mindset. And, of course, that 75 basis points has to be actually of a number, so for us to be able to work with somebody. But it's really about the service and making sure we're achieving the client's goal.
So there is a threshold for them to start working with you.
Well, I would say the mindset's the biggest threshold.
The mindset. Okay.
Yes, but there has to be some business to
make sense.
To the relationship as well.
Right.
It has to make sense.
Okay.
But it also you don't need $1 bazillion to start working with us either. Just the 75 basis points needs to be of a number. Usually that person is somebody who has saved a bunch of money.
Right.
Saved for 20 years, whatever. And they're like, hey, I've saved all this money.
I don't know what to do with it.
I still feel like, I still feel like I'm not living the lifestyle that I want, right? So, I still feel like I can't afford the things that I want to be able to do, but I'm saving all this money. I'm doing everything the proverbial they say I should do. And how do I change this? So that's generally the people that we really like to work with, bringing them from that checkers over to the chess. But if they're already a chess person, that's great too.
Okay. Well, awesome. So if they're already a chess player, they can come to you and ask for further advice on how to make me a better chess player.
Yeah, usually the chess players that come to us are sick of their checkers financial advisor.
Ah, okay.
And they're like,
they're looking to level
I'm
up.
tired of,
Hello.
yeah, I'm tired
I
of
don't
this
wanna...
financial advisor always trying to talk me out of buying real estate, buying businesses, doing different things, and want me to save, and talk about all these numbers, going up over time, interest rates. It's like, let's talk about actually building wealth and enjoying your lifestyle now, not this, golden wheelchair plan where you get to have the money when you're like 80. It just doesn't make sense. Doesn't resonate with a lot of people, especially chess players.
Brilliant. Okay. So I think we did touch on this a bit, but why does it ick you when people say you're in it for the long haul?
Yeah. So one thing I don't like when advisors say to their clients, don't worry, you're in it for the long haul, because who's not in it for the long haul? Everybody you give it your money to. So you hand over your money to a bank. The bank's not in it for the long haul. They want to make money now. You hand it over to an investment company, you buy mutual funds, ETFs, whatever. They're not in it for the long haul. They want to make money now. You hand it over to insurance companies. They're not in it for the long haul. They're looking to make money now. So it's just, and that whole, it's almost like a paternalism system where it's like, chess would be too hard for you. You should just stick to checkers and just, leave chess to the adults and let us all get rich. Think about it. There's like 300,000 licensed financial professionals of some form or fashion in the United States. If they all were giving really great advice, wouldn't the wealth gap shrink?
Exactly.
Instead of expand the way it has, especially in the past 20, 30 years. So we need to look at this and be like, this is not working. Why is it not working, and what needs to change? So, and that's one of the reasons, the biggest reason why I wrote the book is to explain okay, well, this is what's going on. But it ultimately comes to the person decide whether they're going to play checkers or chess.
I love that. I love your mission. Thank you for the work you're doing.
Appreciate it.
So, okay. I know you mentioned about fiduciary duty, but what is a fiduciary advisor, and are they all?
A fiduciary advisor is somebody who's legally bound to work in the best interest of the client, not in the interest of the firm or the company they represent. So not everybody is a fiduciary. So that's the first question that anybody's talking to anybody about their money should ask, are you a fiduciary? And if the answer is no, or they kind of try to sidestep the question, just get up and leave. If the person's just not right for you. And hopefully there'll be some positive changes here in the United States over the next 10 years where if you handle money, you have to be a fiduciary. But right now, that's not the case.
I was about to ask you that.
Yeah. And it can be frustrating. It's definitely frustrating for us, because sometimes we feel like we shouldn't be even competing or talking, we should be in the same sentence as this other, type of firm or business. So it gives, people like us a bad name sometimes. So I'd love to see it cleaned up. But it's also being able to make sure that that person be a good fit, not just a fiduciary, but a good fit, whether that's checkers or chess, is also very important. Because if you have a checkers mindset financial advisor, then you're going to get checkers advice. And if you are a checkers player, that could be very good. But if you're a chess player at heart, maybe not. So you want to work with somebody who's got, similar ideals as you.
Where do you see the trajectory with the financial state in the United States, in America?
Well, if we don't change things, the wealth gap is just going to continue to expand, where all the wealth, or a significant amount of wealth is going to be concentrated in a very few hands.
Mm.
And that's unfortunate. But saving money is not going to be the answer. It's kind of like you need to play the same game that they're playing if you want similar results. And you got to do things that are uncommon, right? Because I hear that all the time. Like, people say, like, well, most people do this. Like, yeah, that's why most people are broke, because most people do this. Why don't we not do this and do something different so we can get a different result than the people that you're talking about? So, once you wrap your head around that, if you're standing in line at the slaughterhouse, well, don't be surprised to know what happens to you, right? So you can't have uncommon results doing common things. You gotta change it up.
Right. Well, it is scary, but is there hope?
Yes. Oh yeah, plenty. And now with the access to information, we were able to help people in all 50 states now, which is great. We used to not be able to do that. Having a good relationship with our clients, even just through Zoom, has been great. So there's access. Things have become more affordable, and especially that's why one of the reasons why we've lowered our fees is because we want to pass that savings on to the client. The fact that I don't need the big building anymore with the mahogany desk and the big rent. We don't need that anymore, right? So we pass those savings on to the client. And technology, things that used to take us 4 hours to do, can now maybe take us 45 minutes to do. So passing that on to the clients is important to us. Unfortunately, it's not important to every firm. Some firms are just kind of taking it and running it. And, my opinions, but I'm not going to judge them. But we choose to be a little different.
I feel that. Thank you again for that, Freddie. So what are you working on currently?
What was that?
What are you working on currently? Any specific project or any initiatives that you are focusing on within your firm or within the community?
We're really just working on helping people get over that hump of the mindset, of that switching the chess mindset. And that's why I do these podcasts. That's why I do a lot of talks in person, especially here in the Tampa area. Just being able to get the message out there and let people know that there is hope. There is, this other game called chess. You don't have to do what they're telling you to do all the time. And, and just ask yourself, is it working? Right? If it's not working, it's not working. You got to do something different.
Change is difficult, but still change is the only constant. Okay, well, thank you for that, Freddie. So we're going to pivot to a self-worth question. So the question for you, can you share any personal experiences or stories of self-discovery and how it has positively impacted your sense of self-worth?
Well, just maybe the belief that I could do it. I think that was, the big thing. Once I realized that, especially once I started getting around chess players and realized that, they put their pants on the same way I do.
We're not really different after all.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just having the correct mindset and be able to say, no, I want to build wealth. I want to change things. I want to improve my lifestyle, improve my family, and learn how to do that. And that I would say that was the biggest kind of hurdle, as it is for anybody, right? My own, I was a hardcore checkers player for a long time on the police department. Then I switched over to chess, and then things are really expanding very quickly, which I was pleasantly surprised at. It doesn't take a bazillion years, to greatly increase. So I would say that was it. Once I realized that, I could do this.
Yeah, I mean, there was a point during a conversation when I felt like, actually, what Freddie's doing, I could do as well. So it's such an irony when you said about they put their pants on the same way as you do at home. So it's like, yeah, exactly. Everybody, it's accessible. It's how you approach it and you believe about it. And if you think that you're far away from it, that's what you're going to continue to repeat in your head, right? As with all other beliefs that, okay, money doesn't grow on trees, like, or money is evil.
Yeah, you just got to change your mindset.
Yeah.
But it can grow in trees.
Yeah, exactly. It can grow in trees because money is made from paper anyway. So, well, thank you for that, Freddie. What is your heart's greatest wish?
Just to leave things a little better than how I found them. Whatever that thing is, whether it's, I don't know, something small, something large, just leave it better than you found it. And people are generally happy for you when you do that and provide value. So when you provide value, people are happy for you and your success. But when people feel like you're becoming wealthy by taking from them, that's when they get upset.
Yeah. Do you have a mantra that you live by?
No, I don't. Can't say I have a mantra.
A quote, because that's my last question.
Oh, a quote, sure.
Yeah.
Successful people are willing to do the things they don't want to do in order to be where they want to be.
Well, that is, and my next question for you is, if you could create a quote right now for you to leave to the audience listening and the world as your legacy, what would it be?
That would be it. Yeah. Successful people are people willing to do the things they don't want to do. Don't is highlighted, underlined, italicized.
Bold.
All the things on the keyboard
Right.
that they don't want to do in order to get where they want to be.
I love that.
Be willing to do the things.
Yeah. So, okay, Freddie, how can people reach out to you?
They can go to optafinancial.com, and right in the top right corner it says schedule a consultation, and they can click that button and it'll bring them right to my calendar, and they can schedule a complimentary consultation with us, and we'll see if we're a good fit for them. That's awesome. The easiest way to get a hold of us. Calendly kind of like runs my life now.
Yes. So before we wrap up, Freddie, do you have any last message for our listeners today?
No, just believe that you can actually change things, and chess is available for everybody. Don't let them tell you can't play chess.
Awesome. You heard it, guys. That's a wrap on today's inspiring episode with Freddie Rapina. Thank you for your wisdom and dedication to continue uplifting others, Freddie. And for our listeners, this has been Your Wordless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Remember, if you've ever felt worthless, you are not alone. Your soul chose to be here to matter, and for that reason alone, you are worthy. A huge thank you again, Freddie, and to all of you for listening. Until next time, I'm Nierras, your host. Keep shining, keep growing, and always remember, you are worthy and you are enough. See you in the next episode. Thank you, Freddie, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Hi, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Nick?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for saying yes to be interviewed today. I'd like to introduce myself formally. My name is Nicolette. I am the creator for the podcast titled Your Wordless. Read that again. The juxtaposition of your very soul. Now, the topic of our discussion today is financial advisory. And I think this will resonate so much with me. And I think a fraction of my audience, because I used to come from a corporate background, used to be an accountant, still an accountant, but transitioning to my own practice, and that's in the psychology field. So yeah, I'm very excited to have this conversation with you.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so for the benefit of our listeners, let me introduce yourself to them, and then we can get right into the conversation. So hello everyone, we have Freddie here with us, Freddie Rapina. Freddie is a financial advisor and a chartered financial consultant, as well as an accredited investment fiduciary who founded Opta Financial. Now, Freddie helps clients examine their current financial situation, financial goals, and provides recommendations for them. In addition to this, Freddie also has experience in law enforcement and is retired from the Fairfax County Police Department in Virginia. Whoa, quite an interesting background, Freddie. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, appreciate it.
Love this episode? Now, transformation doesn't end here. Head on to @holistic.lifestyle_with Nick. That is on my Instagram. Or head on to my website, www www.holisticlifestyle.com for more info on my coaching framework, which is the worthy, authentic, and abundant framework, digital guides, and my upcoming events such as retreats and master classes and workshops. Now, I also do intuitive readings where